functions. What do you mean by functions? Functions is nothing but it's a named blocks of code that are designed to do specific job. Functions are nothing but the otherwise group of related statements that perform a specific task. When you want to perform a particular task that you have defined in a function, then you have to call that function with its responsible name. So function is nothing but the group of related statements that perform a specific task. It is a named set of statements. It is otherwise it is called a modules, otherwise subroutines. So function is a small set of program. So what are the types of functions? We had already learned in C++. The types of functions are user defined functions, built-in functions. These two functions only we had already learned in the C++. Then also we had learned about recursion functions. But here in Python you have one more function that is called lambda functions. So here we have totally 4 types of functions. First one is user defined function, second one is built-in function, third one is lambda function, and fourth one is recursion function. What do you mean by user defined function? User defined function means what? User can define their own functions. Before that we have to see what do you mean by function. So functions are named blocks of code that are designed to do specific job. Functions are nothing but a group of related statements that perform a specific task. What are the main advantages of functions? First one, it avoids repetition and makes high degree of code reusing. So reuse of code is the first main advantage of the function. Second one, it reduces the program length. Third one, it provides better modularity for your application. Better modularity. Modules means it's a small programs, so it gives the better modularity of your applications. Then types of functions: user defined, built-in, lambda, and recursion. What do you mean by user defined function? User defined function means the functions that can define by the user themselves. Then what do you mean by user can define the functions? Their own functions is called a user defined function. What do you mean by built-in function? Built-in function means the functions that are inbuilt within the Python. When develop the program Python, otherwise C++, the developer can define some functions that are the inbuilt functions. They are called built-in functions. Then what do you mean by lambda function? Lambda function is special for Python, so it is called a anonymous unnamed function, that is functions that are anonymous and unnamed functions. Then fourth one is a recursion function. What do you mean by recursion function? Functions that calls itself is known as a recursive function. The functions that calls itself. Here user defined, built-in, and recursion functions. These 3 functions we had already learned in C++. Here one extra function we have is lambda function, especially for the Python program. Then what do you mean by user defined function? Take page number 90 in your textbook, defining the functions, then user defined functions. Functions must be defined to create and use certain functionality. So first you have to define the function, create the function, and you can use the functionality. There are many built-in functions that comes with the language Python. For instance, print function. So print function is a built-in function. Like that, input function is a built-in function. For built-in functions you need not to define the function. The function what it can do, you need not define. You can just call the name of the responsible function, but you can also define your own function. The user can define their own function. That function is called a user defined function. Some of the functions are inbuilt one, that is called built-in functions. For that functions we need not define the functions, but sometimes user can define their own functions. That functions are called user defined functions. So for user defined functions you have 2 functionality. First one, you have to define the function. Second one, you have to call the function. So defining a function, then calling a function. So what is the syntax for user defined function? Take page number 90 in your textbook. So here 7.2.1. See, syntax for user defined function. So here you have def. That def is a keyword. Function blocks begins with the keyword def. Then you have a function name. Function name can be any name, add, subtract, something like that. You have any function name. Then within the parenthesis you have a parameters, parameter 1, parameter 2, like that till parameter n you can specify the parameters. Then you have a colon mark. After that you have indentation. Indentation means what? Leaving the space. Then block of statements, then return statement. Return statement may be either expression or none statement. So the syntax for user defined function, you have 3 lines. First line you have def keyword, then function name, then within the parenthesis you have a parameter list, then colon, it should end with the colon. After that you have a block of statements. After that you have a return statement, either it have expression or none. So here you see the points. Function blocks begin with the keyword def followed by the function name and parenthesis. Any input parameters or arguments. What do you mean by parameters and arguments? Parameters means the name which are given to the variables. Then the arguments means which are give the value to that variables, which are pass the value to the variables. So parameters and arguments, we had already learnt about these parameters and arguments in C++. Any input parameters or arguments should be placed within this parenthesis when you define a function. When you define a function, parameters should be defined within the parenthesis. The code block always comes after a colon and is indented. What do you mean by indented? Indented means leaving the space instead of giving opening and closing curly braces. So in C++, the set of statements will be start with opening curly braces and end with the closing curly braces. But here in Python, the set of statements will be that a block of statements will be indented. Indented means leaving space. Then the third point, in the statement return expression exits a function, optionally passing back an expression to the caller. It will pass the values. A return with no arguments is the same as return none. So here without arguments means it is a none return statement with none. Here you see the example. In page number 91 you see the example. Say def hello, print hello Python, then return. Here there is the return statement, there is no return statement, it is a none value. So what are the advantages of user defined functions? What are the advantages of user defined function? So for this example you have the output hello Python. Then what are the advantages of user defined functions? Functions help us to divide a program into modules. So functions means it's a small programs. So it helps us to divide program into modules. This makes the code easier to manage. Then second point, it implements code reuse. Every time you need to execute a sequence of statements, all you need to do is call the function. So it implements the code reuse. Reuse of coding is very easy in functions. So every time you need to execute a sequence of statements, suppose if you want to execute set of statements, means every time you need not to write all those statements, just you can call the function. The functions allows us to change functionality easily, and different programmers can work on different functions. So the functions maybe works on with the different programmers. Okay. So next one, calling a function. You see the same example here. Before that you see the syntax for calling function. So calling a function, you have function name, then parameter list. Your parameter list, in this example you see the last line, there is a function name with the parenthesis. Along with parenthesis, within this parenthesis either you have parameter list or none, you have empty function name. So the syntax for function calling is function name, within the parenthesis you have parameter list. So what is the output for this function? We can see the output for this example. So syntax is function name, parameter list, then the example def hello. Def is a keyword, hello is a function name. Then what is the print statement? Print, here the hello is a user defined function, then print is a built-in function. Within the print statement you have to type hello Python, then return statement has nothing, it's a none statement. Then last one you have to call the function. So function call statement is hello. Hello is a function name, then within the parenthesis you have either you have parameter list or none you have. So the first three lines, def hello and print hello Python and return, these three are called a function definition. Then the last line is called a calling function. So combine these two, function defining the function and calling a function, these two is called a user defined function. So first user defined function, you have to define a function, after that you have to call the function. Then what is the output for this program? Here the output will be hello Python, because the fourth line you see here, the function calling a function that invoke the function name def hello. So that function name will be invoked and the set of statements will be executed. Then the print statement will be display the output hello Python. Then next one, passing parameters in function. In your textbook, take page number 92, 7.4, passing parameters in function. How do you pass the parameters? The last example, without parameters we are calling the function. In this example we are passing the parameters. That means passing parameter means passing the values to the parameters and invoke the function. So in the above code you see here def area w comma h. Though def is a keyword, area is a function name, then w comma h, that is width and height, are the parameters, parameter 1 and parameter 2. Then what is the return statement? Return statement is w into h, w into h. So return statement, either it have expressions or none statement. Then how do you call the calling function? Which one is the calling function here? Print area 3 comma 5. These 3 and 5 is called the arguments, otherwise values, which are passed to the parameters. So in the above code assigns a width and height values to the parameters w comma h. So width is 3 here, then height is 5. When you call the above function using area 3 comma 5, so here the function call statement is area 3 comma 5. It will pass the values to w and h. So w equal to 3 and h equal to 5. Then what will be the output? Obviously 3 into 5, 15. The output will be 15. So when the interpreter see the function call statement, it will invoke the function which you are defined. So the interpreter, the moment it will see the function call statement, it will invoke the function definition. So here the return w into h will be invoked and the calculation will be take part. Then the output will be 15. The next one is a function arguments. So what do you mean by function arguments? Arguments means nothing but the value passed to the parameters. So the before example, the 3 comma 5 is called the arguments. So w comma h is called a parameter and 3 comma 5 are the values passed to that parameters w and h. So that 3 comma 5 is called the arguments. Then what are the types of function arguments? So arguments are used to call a function, and there are primarily 4 types. First one is a required arguments. Required arguments means it's a must one. We have to give the argument, otherwise the program will throw the error. The second one is a keyword arguments. Keyword means you have to give one keyword and corresponding their values. Then default arguments. Default arguments. Then last one is a variable length arguments. So before we get into deep, we have to see the arguments versus parameters. What is the difference between arguments and the parameters? We often use the terms parameters and arguments interchangeably. So either we are using parameters name, otherwise arguments. However, there is a slight difference between them. What is parameters are the variables used in the function definition, whereas arguments are the values we pass to the function parameters. So the difference between parameter and argument is parameters are the variable used in the function definition. So while defining the function, you are using the parameters, that is you are giving the variable name. That variable name is called the parameters. Then while calling the function, you are assigning the value to that parameters. So that values are called the arguments. Then function arguments, we have 4 types of arguments: required arguments, keyword, default and variable length arguments. What do you mean by required arguments? Required arguments are the arguments passed to a function in a correct positional order. In case you are using the parameters name comma age, means you have to give the correct positional order. While you calling the function, otherwise you are invoking the function. First you have to give the name, then you have to give the age. Okay, so the name is a string value, age is a integer value, so you have to give correct positional order. Second one, keyword arguments. Keyword arguments will invoke the function after the parameters are recognized by their parameter names. So keyword arguments means you have to use the key name equal to, while calling the program you have to use the keyword name equal to Ram, age equal to 25. So like that you have to use the keyword. In that case you can change your positional order. So the interpreter pick the correct values. Then default argument. Default argument is an argument that takes a default value if no value is provided in the function call. So default, you have to give one default argument value. So that argument value takes a default value if no value is provided in the function call. If you are not giving any value in the calling function, means it will take the default value. Then variable length arguments. What do you mean by variable length arguments? Variable length arguments pass more arguments than have already been specified. It have passed the more arguments than already have been specified. So the first one we will see one by one. In your textbook, take page number 93, 7.5.1, required arguments. So required arguments are the arguments passed to a function in correct positional order. Here the number of arguments in the function call should match exactly with the function definition. So in the function call statement, in the function call means the last statement, that is calling function statement, should match exactly with the function definition. So the parameters, the number of parameters and the number of arguments should exactly match. So it is the condition, but in the correct positional order. Here you see the example, def print string str. So here str is a parameter, then print example required arguments, then print statement again str, then return statement, then you are calling the function. The function is, the statement is print string. Using print string statement you are calling the function, but in this print string statement you have no arguments. Within the parenthesis you don't have any values, so it should throw the error. If suppose if you want to get a output, means you have to give within the print string statement you have to give welcome, otherwise something like that. One string you have to give one argument. For the string str parameter you have no, then first line in the example, the first line str is a parameter. So for that parameter you have to give any string value, either welcome, either hello, either Python, something like that you have to give. But in your example, inside the print string there is no arguments, within the parenthesis there is no values, so you should give at least one required arguments, then only it will show the output, otherwise it will throw the error. So instead of print string in the above code, if you use print string welcome, then the output will be like this. So without an argument it will throw the error. Then for that it is called a required arguments. Then the second one, keyword arguments. What do you mean by keyword arguments? When we call a function with some values, these values get assigned to the arguments according to their position. So when we use keyword arguments to call the function, the position of the arguments can be changed. In required arguments, the arguments should be in the positional order, but in the keyword arguments we are using keywords, for that the positional order will be changed. That is, the arguments, you can put the arguments in a improper order, that is not in order. Here you see the example, take page number 94, you see the example, the last example you see, def print data name comma age. So this name and age, def is a keyword, print data is a function name, name and age is a parameter list, parameter 1 and parameter 2. So what is the print statement? Print statement, example 3 keyword arguments, then print name. Here you have a name, parameter name, but the first name is a keyword, first name is a keyword, the second name is a parameter name. Like that, third print statement, you have age and age, the before colon that age is called a keyword, then after colon that age is a parameter list, then return statement. Then you see the function calling statement, print data, age equal to 25, name equal to Jishan. So here the positional order is changed because in parameter list we have first name we have, then the second parameter is age. But if you are passing the value, first you have a age value, then second you have a name value. But you are changing the positional order, but you have a keyword, so it will take according to your keyword value. So the output will be first print statement example 3 keyword argument, second print statement name, the value is Jishan. Then the third print statement, the keyword is age, then the value is 25. So if you are changing the positional order also in keyword arguments, the interpreter using the keyword, it will take the correct output and it will print the correct output. In the above program, the parameter orders are changed. Then third one is a default argument. Third one is a default arguments. Take page number 95. What do you mean by default arguments? If there is no value is provided in the function call, it will take the default value. So in Python, the default argument is an argument that takes a default value if no value is provided in the function call. While calling a function, if there is no value is provided means it will take the default value in the parameter list. So when you have to, where you have to define the default value means in the parameter list. Along with the parameter list, you have to give the default value. So the following example uses the default arguments that prints default salary when no argument is passed. So here you see the example, DEF print info name comma salary equal to 3500. So def is a keyword, print info is a function name, and name is a parameter list 1, then salary is a parameter list 2. Here they are assigning the default value to that salary. Then print name is a keyword, then name, then print salary, salary return. Then you are calling a function print info money. Here you are giving only one argument value, that is for name alone you have to give the one argument value. For salary you don't have any argument value. So for that it will take the default value. If value is provided while function call, okay, so here it will take the default value 3500. Some case, if value is provided while function call, then the interpreter simply ignore the default argument. Sometimes if you are giving money comma 2500 means it will take the ignore the default value and take the value which you pass to the parameter list. Here you see the second output. When the above code is changed to print info Ram comma 2000, it produces the following output. Name is Ram, then salary is 2000. Here it will ignore the default value 3500, it will ignore because you are passing the value. In case you are not passing any value means it will take the default value in default arguments. So this is the purpose of default arguments. Then next one is a variable length arguments. What do you mean by variable length arguments? In some instance, you might need to pass more arguments than have already been specified. Going back to the function to redefine it can be tedious process. Variable length arguments can used instead of. So when you are using the variable length arguments, you are using or passing more arguments than you have already specified. You are giving more arguments already specified than already specified. So at that time you are again and again you are going to the function and redefine is a tedious process. For that time you are using the variable length arguments. To define a variable length arguments, you have to use the asterisk symbol. Asterisk symbol is used to define such arguments. So here you see the example. The last example you can see def print numbers, then the asterisk symbol numbers. For n in numbers, for n in numbers means what? What is the use of for loop? For loop is used to repeat some set of statements again and again till the condition is false, otherwise it reaches its range. So here for n in numbers, print n return. Print statement printing two values means 1 comma 2. Then the second print statement, here the print numbers 1 comma 2 is a function called statement. Like that, print numbers 10, 20, 30 is a function called statement. So here it will pass the value. So first print number statement pass the values, only two values. So the output will be printing two values, 1 and 2. Then the second print number, second calling statement pass the values 3. So the output will be printing three values, 10, 20 and 30. So each time function call, we need to pass different arguments. That time we need not go back to the function and redefine the parameters. So we are using the variable length arguments. For variable length arguments, defining it, you have to use the asterisk symbol, underline that line. Asterisk symbol you have to use to define such arguments. So you see here, you see the example. So the parameter is asterisk numbers. So we are defining the parameter list numbers. Then you can pass the any number of values. That's why it is called a variable length. Variable length means you can pass any number of values each time. So one time you can pass 2 values, the next time you can pass 3 values, the next time you can pass 10 values. So that only it is called a variable length arguments. So in page number 97, in variable length arguments, we can pass the arguments using two methods. It's a 2-mark question. So first one is a non-keyword variable arguments. Second one is a keyword variable arguments. The next topic is anonymous function. What do you mean by anonymous function? Anonymous function means it's a lambda function, that is called a lambda function. So anonymous function is a function that is defined without name. Without name, you have to define the anonymous function. So anonymous function is a function that is defined without name. While normal function defined with the keyword def, in anonymous functions defined with the keyword lambda. So in Python, anonymous function is a function that is defined without name, while normal functions are defined using the def keyword. In Python, anonymous functions are defined using the lambda keyword. Underline that line. So normal functions means you have to use def keyword, def, definition, or first 3 letters. Then for anonymous functions, you have to use the lambda keyword. Hence, anonymous functions are also called the lambda functions. What is the use of lambda or anonymous functions? Lambda functions is mostly used for creating a small or one-time anonymous functions. It is used for only a small or one-time anonymous functions. Lambda functions are mainly used in the combination with the functions like filter, map and reduce. So it is used with the filter, map and reduce. So lambda functions can take any number of arguments and must return one value in the form of expression. Lambda functions can only access global variables. So that, did you know, you marked that it's a 2-mark question. So lambda function can take any number of arguments. It will take any number of arguments, but it will return only one value with the form of expression. Underline that line. With the form of expression only it will return the value. So it will access only the global values. We had already seen what are the scope rules of variables: global variable, local variables, file scope, then class scope in C++. Here we are going to see about only local scope and global scope. What do you mean by global scope? Global scope means the global variable can access throughout the programs. So what is the syntax for anonymous functions? So here you see the syntax for anonymous function. Take page number 98, 7.6.1. So first one is a lambda. Lambda is a keyword. Then arguments. You have more than one arguments, but you have only one return value in the form of expression. So in the syntax you see lambda, then arguments, then colon, then expression. Expression is only one expression. You see the example, sum equal to lambda. Lambda is a keyword. Argument 1 and argument 2. Here you have two arguments, but you have only one value, return value, argument 1 plus argument 2. This argument 1 plus argument 2 is a expression. So print sum is sum 30, 40. Then print sum is sum minus 30, 40. So the output will be sum 70, the sum is 10. Then 7.7. you have a, here you see the program and the corresponding program output. Then next one is a return statement. What do you mean by return statement? The return statement causes your function to exit and return a value to its caller. So it will give the return value. The point of functions in general is to take inputs and return something. So it will take the input and return the output value. The return statement is used when function is ready to return a value to its caller. So only one return statement is executed at the runtime. So during the runtime, it will execute, an interpreter will execute only one return statement if you, even though you have more than one return statement. So if you are having more than one return statement in your program also, otherwise in your function also, but during the runtime, the interpreter will execute only one return statement. Any number of return statements are allowed in a function definition, but only one of them will be executed at the runtime. Then what is the syntax of return? Either return, either expression list or none value. So none value and return expression list. You see the first, take page number 90. The syntax for user defined function, you have a return statement. In return statement, you have either expression list or none. So like that, the same syntax, return, expression list or none. This statement can contain expression which gets evaluated and the value is returned. If there is no expression in the statement or return statement itself is not present inside the function, then the function will return the none object. If there is no expression means the function will return the none object. So the next topic we are going to see is scope of variables. Take page number 99 in your textbook, scope of variables. What do you mean by scope of variables? Scope of variables means it's a visibility of variables, otherwise accessibility of variables. We had already learnt in C++, we have local scope, global scope, file scope and class scope. But here we have only two, only local scope and global scope. So scope of variables refers to the part of the program where it is accessible, that is area where you can refer, otherwise use it. We can say that scope holds the current set of variables and their values. We will study two types of scopes. One is scope, local scope, another one is a global scope. What do you mean by local scope? Local scope means the local variables are declared within the function. The local variable means it is declared within the function. It can be accessible only within that functions. Okay, a variable declared inside the function's body or in the local scope is known as local variable. The variable which are declared inside the function's body, only within the function, and in the local scope is known as a local variable. What are the rules of local variable? The first point, a variable with local scope can be accessed only within the function or block that is created within. So a local variable can be only accessed only within the function or the block of statements. Okay, when a variable is created inside the function or function block, the variable becomes local to it. So the variable which is declared inside the function is becomes the local of that function, so that it is called a local variable. Then the third point, a local variable only exists while the function is executing. So the accessibility of local variable is only within the function. The function, while function is executing, you can access the local variable. The formal arguments are also local to function. The formal arguments means the values passed to the parameters are local to the function. Here you see the example. So def local y equal to 0, then print y local. So here def is a keyword, loc along with the parenthesis is a function. Then y equal to 0 is a local scope, then print y is a output statement. Then you are calling the program, the function, def loc function. So loc is a calling function. What will be the output? The output will be 0. Then global scope. What do you mean by global scope? Global scope means you can access throughout the program, otherwise anywhere in the program. A variable which are able to access throughout the program or anywhere in the program is called a global variable. So a variable with a global scope can be used anywhere in the program. It can be created by defining a variable outside the scope of any function or block. A global variable can be declared, should be declared outside of the function. That is the starting of the program. You have to declare the global variable, but local variable you have to declare within the function or the function block. What are the rules of global keyword? The basic rules for global keyword in Python are: number one, when we define a variable outside a function, it is global by default. You don't have to use any global keyword. When you define a variable outside a function, by default it will take it as a global variable. You need not to specify any global keyword. We use global keyword to read and write global variable only inside the function. In case you are using the global variable inside the function, because if the variable is declared inside the function, means by default it will take it as a local variable. In case if you want to declare a variable as a global inside the function, means in that case you have to use the global keyword. Use of global keyword outside the function has no effect. So if you are declaring the variable outside the function, means you no need to use any keyword as a global. Suppose you are declaring the variable as global inside the function. Inside the function already you have one variable. That variable is called the local variable. In case you want to use any variable as global variable, you have to access that variable throughout the program. But you want to declare that variable inside the function, means you have to use global keyword. Okay, so you see that, take page number 101 and you can see the example. Here c equal to 1, that c is a global variable. Why it is called a global variable? Because it is declared outside the function. Then only the function block will be started. def is a keyword, then add is a function, then print c is a output statement, then again add is a function calling statement. So here the output will be 1. Then you see the second example. See the same program, c equal to 1 as a global variable, then def is a keyword, add is a function, then you are incrementing the c value by 2, c equal to c plus 2, print c, then add function. But if you are running this program, it will throw the error. What is the error message? Local variable c referenced before assignment, because you are not able to change the variable, global variable inside the function. You are not able to change the global variable's value inside the function. To overcome this problem, you have to use the global keyword, that we will see in the next example. So in this example, we are referenced c before assigning it as a global variable inside the function. Here inside the function, the statement c equal to c plus 2, here we are not declaring this variable as global inside the function, only outside the function only we are using the variable c. So without using global keyword, we cannot modify the global variable inside the function. Okay, so for this we have to use the global keyword inside the function. In this example, we cannot change the c value incremented by 2, it will throw the error. Then you see the third example. Here again x value equal to 0, then def add, def is a keyword, then add is a function, then global x. Here again they are declaring the variable as a global variable inside the function. So the first line x equal to 0, by default it is considered as a global variable, but again in the third line again they are declaring x using with the global keyword, because they are declaring this x inside the function. So they have to use the global keyword. Then here they can change the value, x equal to x plus 5 incremented by 5. Then print inside add function x's value, that is a print statement. Then add function is a function calling statement. So here to change the global variable inside the function, you should use the global keyword. So outside the function means by default it will consider as a global variable, but inside the function means you should use the global keyword. Okay, in the above program, x is defined as a global variable. Inside the add function, global keyword is used for x and we incremented the variable x by 5. Now we can see the change on the global variable x. Outside the function, the value x is 5. First the global variable's value is 0, then it will be incremented by 5, then now the x value is 5. Then take page number 102. Global variable and local variable. Global variable and local variable, you can use both the same name for the same variable name for the global variable and the local variable. Here you see the second example. Take page number 102 and see the second example. Here x equal to 5, def local x equal to 10. So the first line x equal to 5, first statement x equal to 5, that x is considered as a global variable. Then after LOC function, that inside the function again we are declaring x value. So that x value is considered as a local variable. Then how can you access these two? So print local x. Before the calling statement, you have to use before calling statement, you can access the local variable. After the calling statement, you can access the global variables. So what are the scope of variables? Scope of variables, you have two types, local scope and the global scope. Then local scope means the variables which are declared inside the function we can access only within the function, that is called the local scope. Then global scope means you can declare outside the function, that is the starting of the program you have to declare the global variable. You can use this, otherwise the accessibility of the global variable is throughout the program, entire program. Then how can you declare the global variable inside the function? Using the global keyword you can declare the global variable inside the function. In case if you are using the same variable name for both local and global variable, means you have to use the global keyword. You have to access the variables inside before calling function, means you can access the local variable. After calling the function means you can access the global variable. So next one, built-in functions and mathematical functions. Take page number 103. Here we are going to see some examples for built-in functions and mathematical functions. So what do you mean by built-in functions? Some of the functions are readily available to use while developing the Python program. They are defining some functions, so we can use only that function name. We are no need to define that function. That functions are called the built-in functions. Mathematical functions, so in built-in functions we have two types of functions. One is mathematical function, another one is a string function. Here we are going to see about only the mathematical functions, and next lesson we are going to see about the string functions. So take page number 103. For example, some of the examples for built-in functions. So first one is a absolute function, ABS. ABS returns an absolute value of the number. The argument may be an integer or floating point number. The argument means the values passed to the parameters. So absolute x equal to 20, y equal to minus 23.2. So absolute x means it will give 20, absolute y means 23.2. so here the argument may be an integer or floating point of number. Second example, second function, ORD. ORD means it returns the ASCII value for the given Unicode character. Already you had learned about the ASCII values. ASCII means what? American Standard Code for Information and Interchange. Any numbers or letters we are typing in the system have some of the ASCII values. So the uppercase have separate ASCII values and lowercase have separate ASCII values. So ORD C. In case C equal to small a means the output will be 97. D equal to capital A means the output will be 65. The corresponding ASCII values will be displayed. Then the third function is character, CHR. It returns the Unicode character for the given ASCII value. It is the vice versa of ORD function. So character means, suppose if you give the ASCII value means your input value is ASCII means, then it will give the corresponding character values. So C equal to 65 is your input means the output will be capital A. Then D equal to 43 means your output will be plus character. Then fourth function is binary. Returns the binary string prefixed with OB for the given integer number. Format can be or can also used instead of this function. Suppose in case binary I, x equal to 15 means it will give the binary value of 15 prefix with the 0b. Then print 101 means it will give the 101's corresponding binary value. Then next function is a type function. It will give the type of the given integer value, whether it is float value, string value, boolean value, integer value, something like that. It will give the type of the given number. So returns the type of the object for the given single object. This function used with a single object parameter. So x equal to 15.2, y equal to 15.2 means the output will be it is a float. Then y equal to a means it is a character. Then s equal to true, otherwise false means it is a boolean. Then next function, that is 6th function. 6th function is the id value. Id return the identity of an object. Identity means what? The address of the variable. The variable will be stored in the memory space. So that the address of the memory value will be displayed. So x equal to 15 means address of the x will be displayed. Then y equal to a means the address of y value will be displayed. Then minimum returns the minimum value in the list. You are giving some numbers, more than one numbers, then it will pick the minimum number from the list and it will display the output. So then next one, maximum. Maximum is the returns the maximum value in a list. Same, if you are giving more than one number means it will pick out the maximum number from that list and display the output. Then sum function returns the sum of values in the list. You are giving some numbers, more than one numbers means it will add the numbers and give the sum of the list. Then format. What do you mean by format? It returns the output based on the given format, either binary format or octal format or fixed point notation. So here x equal to 14, format x comma b means your output will be in the binary format. Then print y value in octal format, y comma o means your output value will be in the octal format. Then print y is a fixed point number format, y comma f means your output will be in the fixed point format. Then round value. Round value, what do you mean by round value? It returns the nearest integer to the input. In case 17.9 means it will give 18. Then y equal to 22.2 means it will give 22, something like that. The z is rounded as minus 18. Then power value. What do you mean by power value? A to the power b, b to the power c, something like that. So it returns the computation of a to the power b, a raised to the power of b. A equal to 5, b equal to 2. So power of a comma b means 5 to the power of 2. That is 5 into 5, 25. Then the second one, print power of a comma c means what? 5 to the power 3.0. So the output will be 125. 5 into 5 into 5. Then third one, power of a plus b to the power 3. A plus b is what? A plus b is 7. 7 to the power of 3. So these are the built-in functions. The next one, mathematical functions. So if you want to use the mathematical functions, you have to use math module. Math is module means what? It's a small function, otherwise subroutine. So you have to use math module before using all mathematical functions in a program. So for that you have to import the math module function. For every functions before that you have to use math dot floor. You see the example here. Here we are going to see three mathematical functions: floor function, ceil function and square root function. So floor function returns the largest integer less than or equal to x. So floor is a mathematical function. So you have to use math module math dot floor x. So import max x equal to 26.7, y equal to minus 26.7 and z equal to minus 23.2. Here print max floor x. So floor means what? It returns the largest integer lesser than or equal to x. So 26.7 is lies between 26 and 27. So the value will be lesser than or equal to x. So lesser than or equal to x, now x is 26.7. So it will be 26. So lesser than x means it will be 26. So next value y equal to minus 26.7. So minus 26.7 means the value lies between minus 27 and minus 26. Here minus 27 is a smaller number, not minus 26. So in my negative values, minus 27 is a smaller number. So that output will be displayed. Same z equal to minus 23.2. The value lies between minus 24 and minus 23. So minus 24 is a smaller number. So the minus 24 will be the output. Then what do you mean by ceil function? Ceil function is the vice versa of floor function. It returns the smallest integer greater than or equal to x. Again, your function syntax is max dot ceil x. So x equal to 26.7. So again 26 is lies between 27 and 26, but it will be greater than or equal to x. So greater than value, x equal to 26.7 means the greater than value is 27. So your output will be 27. Same, y equal to minus 26.7 means it lies between minus 26 and minus 27. So greater value is minus 26. Then z equal to minus 23.2. It lies between minus 23 greater than minus 24. So minus 23 will be the greater number. Then what is the square root function? Square root function means returns the square root of x. So in case a equal to 30, what is the square root of a means it will give the square root function. Then b equal to 49 means 7 is the output value. Then c equal to 25.5 means 5.0475 something like that is output value. So these are the built-in functions. Here we had learned about mathematical functions. The next lesson we are going to see the string functions. Okay. So next one is composition in functions. What is composition in functions? That means the composition in function means the functions combined with one another. So the value returned by a function may be used as an argument for another function in nested manner. The function within the function. This is called composition. So composition means nothing but the functions combined with one another. So for example, if we wish to take a numeric value or expression as an input from the user. Suppose if you want to take a input value is a numeric value or the expression. In Python, by default, the input values can be taken as a string value. It will be considered as a string value or characters. So suppose if you want to take our input as a numeric value or expression value, first we have to give our input as a string using input function. You see this paragraph last line, using the input function, we take the input string from the user using the function input and apply eval function to evaluate its value and apply eval function to evaluate its values. Okay, eval means it's a evaluation function. So the value returned by a function may be used as an argument for another function in the nested manner. This is called composition. Composition means in the functions within the one another. So it is a nested function. For example, if we wish to take numeric value or an expression as an input from the user, we take the input string from the user using function input. First we are using input function, then apply eval function to evaluate its values. So here you see the example, n1 equal to eval input enter a number. So first the input, what the input function do? First it will accept your input as a string value. So 234 is considered as a string value. Then using this eval function, the value will be convert into integer value or numeric value. In second example also you see n2 equal to eval input enter an arithmetic expression. So you are giving the arithmetic expression 12.0 plus 13.0 into 2. Then the output will be, it will convert this into numeric value or integer value. So the eval in first, using input function you are giving your input as a string, then using eval function that string value will be converted into either integer or expression. Here the expression value is 12.0. First 13.0 into 2 will be executed. So 13.0 into 2 will be 26.0 plus 12, it's a 38.0. This is the composition in functions. The last topic is Python recursive function. What do you mean by recursion? Recursion means when a function calls itself is known as recursion. So the function call itself, by itself it will call again and again like a loop structure. So recursion works like a loop, but sometimes it makes more sense to use recursion than loop. So it works like a loop. Repeatedly it will execute until some result will come. So the function will continue to call itself and repeat its behavior until some condition is met and return the result. So recursion is nothing but it calls itself is known as recursion. It's like a loop structure, but sometimes it is more useful or more sense to use recursion than the loop. A recursive, page number 108. A recursive function calls itself. Imagine a process would iterate indefinitely if not stopped by some condition. Sometimes if the loop structure is not stopped, it will repeatedly executed indefinitely. Okay, so that is called the infinite times it will iterated. So such a process is known as infinite iteration. The condition that is applied in any recursive function is known as a base condition. The condition that is applied in any recursive function, in recursive function, what are the conditions you are applied is called a base condition. A base condition is must in every recursive function, otherwise it will continue to execute like a infinite loop. So base condition is must for recursive function, otherwise the iteration will not stop, it will repeatedly executed infinite times. What are the overviews of how recursive functions works? Number one, recursive function is called by some external code. So it calls itself, it called by some external code, that is by calling statement, function call statement. If the base condition is met, then the program gives meaningful output and exits. If the base condition is met, that is if the base condition is true, the program gives a meaningful output and exit the iteration. Otherwise function does some required processing and then calls itself to continue recursion. Otherwise if the condition is true, it will give some meaningful output and exit. Otherwise base condition is false means it will do some required processings and then calls itself to continue the recursion. You see the example, DEF factorial program. This one is a factorial program. Def fact n. Def is a keyword, fact is a function name. This program is for your practical. Okay, if n equal to 0, return 1. So if n value you are giving, the n value is 0 means your return value will be 1. Else it will calculate the some meaningful processing means it will calculate the factorial of given number. Then you have to call the function. So the first one, here you have two function call statement. The first function call statement, your n value will be 0, print fact of 0. So here the condition is true, n equal 0. So it will return the value, the output will be 1. The second function call statement, in the n value will be 5. So here 5 is not equal to 0. So the else part will be executed. Here return n into fact of n minus 1. So here it will apply the n value and it will display the output. Okay, then you see the do you know, here print fact 2000. In case your n value is 2000 means it will give the runtime error, because in Python it will automatically by default in the recursive function take 1000 calls. Okay, 1000 times it will repeatedly executed. Suppose if you want to change your limit, you have to use sys.setRecursionLimit. Sys.system is a module. This one we can learn in the 13th lesson. Okay, sys.setRecursionLimit, then in bracket limit value. So here you see the second line, sys.setRecursionLimit is 3000 means it will execute up to 3000 times. Then points to remember, page number 109. Functions are named blocks of code that are designed to do one specific job. Then types of functions are user defined, built-in, lambda and recursion. Then function blocks begin with the keyword def underline deadline, so one word question. followed by a function name and parentheses. A return with no arguments is the same as return none. Return statement is optional in Python. In Python, statements in a block should begin with the indentation. What do you mean by indentation? Leaving some space. A block within a block is called a nested block. Underline that line. Arguments are used to call a function, and there are primarily four types of functions that one can use. They are required arguments, keyword arguments, default arguments, and variable length arguments. Required arguments are the arguments passed to a function in a correct positional order. Keyword arguments will invoke the function after the parameters are recognized by their parameters names. So here in keyword arguments we can change our positional order. A Python function allows to give the default values for parameters in the function definition. We call it as default argument. Then variable length arguments are not specified in the function's definition, and an asterisk is used to define such arguments. Underline that line, that asterisk is used to define such arguments. Anonymous functions is a function that is defined without name. These anonymous functions are called lambda functions. Then scope of variable refers to the part of the program where it is accessible, that is area where you can refer to use it. Here we have two types of scope variables. One is local scope, another one is a global scope. The value written by a function may be used as an argument for another function is nested manner. This is called composition. So it's a combined, the functions combined with one another. A function which calls itself is known as regression. Regression works like a loop, but sometimes it makes more sense to use regression than loop. So our seventh chapter over. Your homework will be take page number 110 and 111, hands-on practice full 110, question number 1, 2, 3 and 4. Submit your classwork by Wednesday at our school office, children. Thank you.